Hi everyone, I wanted to go over tonight some different chapters that we haven't talked about yet in the videos, and we're going to start at chapter 6, really important chapter and some really important concepts here. One of the biggest things that you really want to think about here is in organizational structure is what's the best way in an international company and in a global company, what's the best way to organize people, what's the best way to do things as far as communication and making those people in different international pieces and parts of the company, how is it the best way for them to be part of the company? Is it to have a separate division that's just international, or is it better to put them inside the different divisions that are already there for the company? So if we start out, we go through the functional structure. And the functional structure really is one where you have, engineering, as it shows in the book, marketing, finance. The issue that can happen with this is that you can have silos that form, and it can be hard to have cross-communication between those different functions. But if you look at this from the point of view that everybody knows exactly where they're at and what their responsibilities are. So if I'm a marketer in Europe, I know that I'm in the marketing function. I'm going to probably report to the head of the European marketing function, or even a vice president of marketing potentially. So you know exactly where people are in the company, but again, it can be difficult sometimes to have people go across to different functions, such as if I wanted to go into HR in my next role, or if I wanted to go into engineering and went back and got my bachelor's degree in engineering or something. So think about that when you go through the functional structure. As the book goes through, and then we're going into the international division, and there they pull out the international piece to the side here. As you can see, they have the country manager. Sorry, I can't see too good with my book. They have the country manager for countries A, B, and C, and they report to an international division VP. The foreign subsidiary structure, the product division structure, that would be, the product division would be if, say, we have a Northwood Cookie Company, as I've talked about in the slides a few times when I go through my presentations. That could be if we wanted to add pretzels and popcorn and potato chips, then each of those would be the product divisions. So we would have a vice president of each of those, and then all of the functions underneath them with international and domestic general managers. So as you go on, you see the regional structure, and finally the matrix structure. The matrix structure is one that sometimes confuses students, but really the biggest thing here, two things about this. First of all, you will always report to two people in your role. So if you are sitting in here on page 219, if you are in, say, Latin America, and you are in the engineering function, you would report to the vice president of Latin America, and you would report to, say you were engineering for popcorn, you would report to that product manager of the popcorn division. The point here was supposed to be that you would have local managerial coverage, and you would have global international coverage. And so between the two, you would have great exposure between both the headquarters of the company and at the local level wherever you are at. Now the problem with this is that really there's too much red tape here. There's way too much dual approvals and dual people reviewing you and things like that. So it takes a lot of time. It adds what we call in the United States a lot of red tape, meaning a lot of paperwork, things that would bog you down and take a lot more time to do. So that's why a lot of companies don't do that anymore. Then they go into a couple other flat structures. A flat structure is where you take out that middle management. A lot of companies are trying to do that more and more to get rid of, obviously, expenses. So they're having managers take on more responsibility, more people, and getting rid of as many managers as they can. So we go into that, and then in chapter 7, it talks about international staffing. And the three things I want you to think about here is if you took out a piece of paper right now and put down expatriate, a host country national, and a third country national, and we wanted to hire for our Northwood Cookie Company, we were going to open our plant in China. Would we choose someone from the United States who would be an expat to go over there for 3 or 4 years on assignment? Would we choose and hire an outside Chinese national to fill that position? Or would we possibly fill someone from a third country, potentially Korea or India or something like that, because there may be some expertise there as well. Think of the pros and cons right now, jot it down on a piece of paper if you want to, between those 3 options. As far as expense, the most expensive is going to be that expat from the United States. The least expensive is going to be the Chinese national, because they would have the lowest salaries. So in the middle there would be the Korean or Indian, which would be the third country, third party. So 3 different ways to do it. Just go through the pros and cons and understand why you would pick one over another. It's a great chapter. Really makes people think about, wow, I never thought about how you would staff these positions. So money is a big factor. Culture, language, managerial skills, knowing the company, ability to influence at headquarters. All of these are pluses and minuses of why you should pick one over another. All right, thanks. Have a great week. Bye, guys.